안녕하세요. 저는 KJ 선생님이에요. 어떻게 지내세요? 오늘 우리는 한국어를 계속 배울 거예요. 재미있어서 계속 봐주세요. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Learning Korean with Teacher KJ. On our last episode, we were able to finish all of our Hangeul vowels, and today we are down to our last set of Hangeul consonants. Today, you are going to learn tense consonants. The letters that we will learn today are called tense consonants because you need to put a little bit of pressure or tension in between your speech instruments in order to pronounce them properly. At this point, it might get a little bit confusing because these tense consonants may look and sound similarly with the aspirated consonants and basic consonants that we've learned before. So we are going to take our time to learn these letters and compare them with the consonants that we've learned before to make sure that you know how to pronounce them properly. Let us start off with our first tense consonant, which looks like this. As you can see, it's very similar to this basic consonant and this aspirated consonant. All three of them are pronounced by touching the back of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. To pronounce this basic consonant, you will have to touch the two parts very briefly to produce the sound G. To pronounce the aspirated consonant, you have to touch the two parts also briefly but letting air pass through to produce the sound K. And to pronounce this tense consonant, you have to touch the two parts with tension before releasing them to produce the sound G. Let us try to pronounce all of them together with the vowel A. 따라하세요. 까, 카, 까. 잘했어요. Our second tense consonant looks like this. It is very similar to this basic consonant and this aspirated consonant. All three of them are pronounced by touching the tip of your tongue to the back of your upper teeth. To pronounce the basic consonant, you have to touch the two parts very briefly to produce the sound T. To pronounce the aspirated consonant, you have to touch the two parts briefly but letting air pass through to say T. And to pronounce this tense consonant, make sure to put pressure between the two parts before you release it to produce the sound T. Let us try to pronounce all three of them together with the vowel A. 따라하세요. 따, 타, 따. 잘했어요. Let us proceed to our third tense consonant that looks like this. It looks quite similar to this basic consonant and this aspirated consonant. All three of them are pronounced by touching your two lips together. To pronounce the basic consonant, you have to touch the two briefly before releasing the sound to pronounce P. To pronounce the aspirated consonant, you just have to touch the two parts and let air pass through to pronounce P. And to pronounce this tense consonant, you have to put pressure between the two instruments before releasing the sound and say P. Let us try to pronounce all three of them together with the vowel A. 따라하세요. 빠, 파, 빠. 잘했어요. Our fourth tensed consonant looks like this. And it looks quite similar to this basic consonant. The both of them are pronounced by touching the tip of your tongue to the back of your lower teeth. To pronounce this basic consonant, you just have to touch those two parts very briefly to produce the S sound. And to pronounce the tense consonant, you just have to put more tension between those two to pronounce S. Let us try to pronounce these letters together with the A vowel. 따라하세요. 사, 사. 잘했어요. This next consonant is our final tense consonant, and it looks like this. It looks very similar to this basic consonant and this aspirated consonant. All of them are pronounced by touching the front part of your tongue to the upper part of your mouth. To produce the basic consonant, you have to touch those two parts quite briefly and produce the ch sound. To produce the aspirated consonant sound, you just have to touch those two parts and let some air out to produce the sound ch. And to produce the tense consonant sound, just touch those two parts with a little bit of pressure to pronounce ch. Let us pronounce all three of them together with the vowel A. 따라하세요. 자, 차, 짜. 잘했어요. Once again, let's go over all the consonants that we presented today so that you may hear how they are sounded. We are going to pronounce them together with the vowel A. 따라하세요. 가, 카, 까. 따, 타, 따. 빠, 파, 빠. 싸, 싸. 자, 차, 자. 잘했어요. Now, let us move up from pronouncing syllables to trying to read Korean words that contain the tense consonants that we just learned today. Let us start by trying to read this word. It is pronounced as 깨다, which means to break something. How about this word? It is pronounced as 둥둥하다, and it means stout or fat. Let us try this next word. This one is pronounced as 빵, which means bread. Let's proceed to the next word. This one is pronounced as 쓰다, which means to write. And finally, please try to read this word. This one is read as jjampong, which is a popular spicy Korean noodles. Were you able to read all of those words correctly? If not, you know the drill. Just go back to the beginning of this video, try to pronounce all the letters, and then try to read the words again, and I'm sure that you'll do better this time. We have finally completed our arsenal of Hangeul characters after having discussed all of the vowels and the consonants in Hangeul. But the Hangeul lessons doesn't stop there, because next week we are going to discuss final consonant, which is all about pronunciation. I hope that even if learning Korean is beginning to prove to be more difficult than you initially imagined, that you will continue to practice and practice and practice until you reach your dream of finally being able to listen, speak, read, and write in Korean. See you guys again on the next episode of Learning Korean with Teacher KJ. 저는 KJ 선생님이에요. 안녕히 가세요.